5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. TikTok at SlyJobSal, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter/X on the ATYL Media platforms. We're back. It's another Tuesday morning. We've already got chatters in the TikTok, chopping it up, getting ready for the day. See everybody here too. Dr. Darkroom, glad you're here. Glad you saw that countdown on a bright and early Tuesday morning. We're just getting after it. We're going to talk a little bit about Iowa, a little bit about some rumors and things that people are bringing up in the comments and unbox it all. So we're going to get right into it today. We're going to start with the TikTok chat. We always love the TikTok chat, and I'm going to run through a couple of things that we've talked about already. I get started a couple minutes earlier there, so it's not really fair. But now we're gonna go back and do it again. Big weekend from Iowa, obviously. Xfinity and Cup contending out there in the corn. Kane had mentioned, great run from the 6 car. A great day for RFK all around. I thought Ryan Preece, we talked about him last week a little bit. If you'd been watching, you knew that we were talking up his short track experience, a little bit about his modified history here in the Northeast, running all over the place. And he did a great show with Dale Jr. this past week. Kind of gave a little bit more background into what Ryan Preece, the driver, is all about. So if you had a chance to listen to any of that and understand who this guy is, I mean, ahead of Iowa, it shouldn't surprise you that they're throwing Hail Marys to win races, even when they're mired back. I think they were in 32nd for quite a while there at the end of one of the stages, and were able to use the flurry of cautions in that Cup race to make their way back to the front. So I was really impressed with the 6. The speed of Keselowski this week was Ford really brought it to Iowa. I don't know, they even the 2 car qualified really well. I wasn't expecting, the 6 was up there running and leading laps, which we haven't seen in a while, but really great stuff from RFK, from Ford at Iowa this weekend. We talked a little bit about the playoff bubble too, how Preece and Buescher are the ones who have to battle on the bubble now. Buescher 23 points to the good, Preece 23 points to the bad. So a little bit about club racing. If you don't know, they're an ARCA team. They have 2 cars they run full time. Our friend Chris Golden races for them here on TikTok, and he goes all over the place, and is a driver for them. They had a little bit of an incident this weekend off the track that involved the truck getting flipped over, a trailer getting flipped over, and they could use your support if you know club racing, that bright blue ARCA car. Like a post, share a post, raise awareness if you've got the time. They're a good group over there, and they could use some help. The comeback story hopefully will rival any of the tragedy that they have experienced so far. But yeah, just want to shout it out, make sure people know that there's a place you can go help a group of racers out that are just trying to go out there and do the thing. Just trying to do the thing. And they might appreciate that support, I'm sure. Caden Honeycutt, I'm just going to run down the comments real quick, and then we'll get into the race kind of detail. Greetings, Sinister Pete and Ethan of the YouTube chat. How we doing this morning? Caden Honeycutt is going to be out at Nice Motorsports. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it definitely shakes things up a little bit, right? That move essentially would put Honeycutt in the truck at Tricon in the 11, which means Corey Heim is going to go somewhere else. Now, where he goes, nobody knows, but the rumor has been persistent that he will go to the Cup Series, whether that's with 2311 or another team. We'll see. We're talking a little bit about Stuart Friesen as well. Rapid fire here. He's back in the United States. We talked a little bit about him last week, and we were right off the heels of that awful accident he was in that dirt modified. He broke his right leg in 2 places. He broke his pelvis in 2 places. Really rough stuff. to watch. So all of our support for the Friesen family and for Stewart and for his whole team. He's back in the U.S., undergone some surgeries, is on the road to recovery. So for something as serious as it is, you never want to like minimize what this is going to be like for him recovering, but just really grateful that it wasn't I mean, it's obviously a very serious injury, but if you watch that crash and you hear me say, we're really glad that it wasn't more serious, I think you'll understand because there was something that could have gone even worse than it did. Is there any truth to the Legacy Motor Club Haas merger? Do they keep Custer? I don't know the answer to that. Not sure if there is any truth to that merger. I would imagine that there's some conversation. If it's enough to make a rumor, there's got to be some type of conversation happening. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate your little heart dancey guy. I have to think that there's some truth to it. It would definitely be a play for Legacy to acquire that third charter. It doesn't seem like they're going to end up with that charter from Rick Ware Racing. There's a whole lawsuit. People are talking about now Rick Ware is worth $150 million. That team is worth 150 million bones. One charter team of Rick Ware Racing. So just, keep that in mind. Just crazy, the charter prices. And I'm really interested to see how that valuation affects the 2311 lawsuit, the FRM 2311 lawsuit against NASCAR. If it does, if it doesn't, I don't know. So the Legacy Motor Club merger and Haas could be interesting. It could be a part of that. I don't know. But we'll be interested in holding on and seeing what happens. Connor Zillich will run the trucks at Watkins Glen coming up this weekend. He'll fill in. Rick, you can get this hat, stockcarsociety.com. Race Hell Praise Dale. Patch not included. That was Sal's little artistic eBay find. Corny joke. What would his cereal be? Caden Honey Nut and Cheerios? Oh my God. Honey cut and Cheerios. Carson Hocevar and Zane Smith situation. What happened? I think it's being overblown in a big way. I think the 77 clears himself up, which he might not have wanted to do there, but definitely cuts the nose off Zane Smith. Only thing with this situation, and I'll touch on it here real quick, and we'll get our soundbite. I don't see Zane Smith coming up to the car after to talk to Hocevar. I don't see Zane Smith having a problem. His crew chief wants to have a problem, and he's going to be the one to talk. But driver to driver, you ain't got a problem. I ain't seen you pulled up to talk to Carson after. Why's your crew chief coming over talking? I don't know. That to me didn't make a lot of sense. If it was really as serious as they wanted to make it, I think Carson at this point is an easy target to malign the way he races. I think if other drivers drove the way he did, I don't think it wouldn't get as much attention as it does because it's him. So, yeah, just, and then they go back and forth, and Zane tried to kind of get him back, cut his nose off again, and he failed. Just a messy kind of thing. Sparky, what's up, dude? How are you? Chris is giving away free limited edition hero cards for anyone who donates to the Club Racing GoFundMe. Okay, excellent. So there you go. A little bit of motivation there. If you got a buck to spare on the GoFundMe, you get a beautiful little hero card of Chris Golden. Sounds like a good deal to me. Like the hat. What would be the number Legacy uses in a Haas Legacy merger? I mean, what are they running right now? The 41 Haas? You got the 41, the 42, and the 43. Why not? That'd be interesting, right? I know there's a couple of we're bouncing all over the place right now. Yeah, Caden Honeycutt driving the 52. There's a list, I think, of drivers that are going to start filling in for that 52 car. Christopher Bell, I think, is going to get involved there as well. There's a bunch of truck opportunities out there right now between what's happening with Stuart Friesen and You know, other opportunities with guys starting to shift around in the trucks. There was some shifting around in the Xfinity series as well. Josh Williams no longer with Colleague. I like Josh Williams. I mean, just a great guy. I met Josh at Talladega a couple of years back when he had first gotten that Colleague deal, and just the nicest human. Him and his wife just walking up and down Talladega Boulevard, drinking beer, hanging out with the fans, and just a real dude, a real person, you know, with a real family, doing real things. A shame that it didn't work at Colleague. I don't know what the idea is to kind of improve that program over the next couple of years. I know Colleague is really big on having the Xfinity team be like their cornerstone of success. They also have Daniel Dye running in the 10 car in Xfinity. So I don't think you'll see any more major changes, but who knows? It's we're in primetime silly season. Primetime silly season. Carson Hocevar is asking what location his graveyard is going to be in. um, Carson Hocevar, the take a number thing is the best. One of the best social posts. I know he like does it all on his own with like his buddies. It's gold. It's gold. It's really great. That social carousel that he posted. I'm a social guy. I'm on the internet too much, but that carousel of stuff that he posted this weekend was awesome. I laughed. So Sparky, yeah, man. Chuck Stop hooked me up with a bolo with the Dale Jr. Bowl. I don't have it on today, but he hooked it up. It's on my wall back here. I'm gonna knock my whole desk over. It's on my wall back here. There it is. Boop, boop. Also, new addition to the wall. I found a Cole Custer Xfinity Championship little diecast, like Winter Circle one at Target. And I was like, meh, not a huge Cole Custer guy, but I'll tell you what, I'm gonna grab it. Anyway, Lane Riggs. I do like Lane Riggs. Short question, short answer. I do. I have not heard about I have not heard about NASCAR's new blue collar initiative. What is that? Educate me, please. Unless you're talking about Richard Childress talking about blue collar things, I don't know if is there a full NASCAR initiative around blue collar folks? I don't know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the silly season is stuff is going to heat up. They're looking to bring back. Oh, I saw that NASCAR was so I did see, and maybe we're talking about the same thing, maybe we're not. NASCAR is looking to hire a creative agency to come in and analyze their legacy fan base to try to better cater to them in their marketing push. I don't think it's hard. As someone who does marketing every day in the automotive space, I can tell you that the automotive space is part of the market, part of the audience base is antiquated. They are not up to speed on things. And, you know, automotive and motorsports are two different things, right? But there's a lot of crossover in audience space there, I feel. But yeah, there are a lot of people in those two segments that feel forgotten and they feel not heard. So maybe there's an opportunity for NASCAR to kind of allow those voices to kind of be heard in a responsible way. Because I think you can't just let people yap just uncontrolled, because the things they would say, you can't control what people say. So I think it's something, you know, important to kind of get two hands around and go through a process and feel like they're gonna come out the other side better off for it. So I'm here for it. I think it's great. I think for me, I'm like this hybrid unicorn kind of person, and I think other folks my age, you know, in their 30s, we talked to John, or NASCAR John, and he was kind of the same way, where he understands the legacy of the sport and loves the history of NASCAR, of racing, but wants to see new things implemented while still preserving the past. So there's definitely a culture piece here too that's big in the community. So we'll see. Thanks, James. I appreciate it. Just stepped in to boost your life. I appreciate it. Stepping in, tapping away, giving us a couple likes. It's It's all we need. We're gonna get there. So I'm a big fan of any kind of like blue collar initiative they can do to like wrap up the average fan, the average person into being a fan again. That's I think an important piece of the NASCAR puzzle. I liken it to, in the early 2000s, Chevrolet put the Intimidator on the back of the Monte Carlos they were making. Like that's how big the sport was. Um, to the average person driving down the road, they knew who Dale Earnhardt was because he was on the back of one of the models of manufactured cars from an OE from Chevrolet. So I don't know. I don't know if there's initiatives that will put things like that back into place, but there's certainly something to it that they're going to try to harness again. So I keep hearing Hocevar to the 48 car next year. What is the speculation as of now? I would be stunned, shocked. I would be stunned, shocked if he really did make a move to that 48. I don't think there's going to be any changes there. When we talk about playoff bubble and driver performance, Carson is 23rd in the overall standings. He's 131 points below the cut line. Alex Bowman is 63 points above the cut line in 15th in points. I think, that rumor is something that's popular because people don't feel that Bowman drives to the full potential of the Hendrick equipment that he's in. But I can't see it happening. Any new winner playoff predictions? Yes. I think Watkins Glen is an opportunity for someone new to win. A road course specialist could win here. My heart tells me that Kyle Busch will have a good run at Watkins Glen. He's been good at COTA this year. Ryan Preece, I think, is a threat to win any race right now. I think Michael McDowell on a Watkins Glen could win too. A Tyler Reddick. People forget Tyler Reddick hasn't won a race yet this year. He's 122 points above the cut line. He's the regular season, the driver without highest point standings without a win. Driver with the highest points without a win right now. But that's another good. I think there could be a number of new winners in the next couple of weeks, and then ultimately you have Daytona coming up. So last year we saw Harrison Burton at the Coke Zero Sugar 400 lock his way in from 30 something in points to in the playoffs. So, let's see. Hold on. I got to go back. A lot of comments. Love the comments, but my eyes cannot move as fast. In comparison, what was better this weekend? Cup, Xfinity. I think Xfinity is always a superior product. There was a lot of aero blocking at Iowa this weekend, especially that the track is paved the way that it is. It's really tough for passing there, and that's why I think William Byron did so well once he got out to the front, similar to what he did at Darlington and other tracks this year. Something about that 24, something about these Hendrick cars, when in clean air, they run leaps and bounds above everyone else. Okay. Well, that's the whole thing. Right. So the problem starts when the leader of the race runs half throttle for 20 laps and no one passes him because he can control the air and block everyone with that arrow. It's rough. Yes, Honeycutt left Nice. That is a news piece that came out kind of yesterday afternoon. Gonna see what happens there. Probably a move with Corey Heim. Something will happen. This is a domino effect news piece. So it'll be interesting to see what the next steps are. Ally is under contract with HMS till 2028, and Ally loves Bowman. As long as he has the sponsor support, I don't see why there would be any issue keeping him in that 48 car, to be really honest with you. How did you feel Busch did this weekend? I think he rebounded well from crashing in practice. He's obviously struggling. The 3 car went out and had some speed, top 10 finish for Austin Dillon. So, there was something there. I had Kyle Busch on my sheet finishing better than 12.5 this week. He didn't, but I think if he had been able to qualify and run well in that race, like without starting at the rear, he would have made up more spots. A lot of the older fans have stopped watching and are not coming back. It's up to them if they don't want to come back, but I think it's still a good move to try to retain legacy fans and hear their voices. I think it's a reaction too to what was happening with that show on Sirius XM and the whole situation around that. We saw a lot of Mark Martin this week in the media circle, where Mark wants to talk about the playoff picture and what's going on in those rooms. If anything, that Sirius XM soundbite backfired on the sanctioning body more. It did more harm than it did good, because it gave media, podcasts, whatever, it gave media more opportunity to continue to harp on the fact that drivers and owners and people inside of the sport do not like the playoff picture, the way that the playoffs are run when you're in. It also kind of unveiled this idea that the TV networks have a lot to do with how the playoffs are set up and what makes good TV. Speaking of what makes good TV, IndyCar also is now partly owned by the Fox Corporation. They bought a piece of not just IndyCar, but of Penske Entertainment, the entire Penske Entertainment machine. IndyCar is not my bread and butter. I'm not an IndyCar guy. I don't know. But I will tell you, if it's up to the TV people, they'll have a bracketed playoff system by this time next year. Anyway, playoff prediction. Bowman will go deeper in the playoffs. I see him in the second round for sure. Keselowski wins Daytona. That's a place where their super speedway racing is really fine-tuned at RFK. Honeycutt will likely go to the 42 after the Glen. Okay. Or the 52, I'm sorry. Buddy, how was your weekend, by the way? It seemed like a long weekend in the car store world. It seemed like a lot of rain in the area. Anyway, poor Buddy sitting there getting PTSD from this weekend. Buddy was out covering the Cars Tour Throwback Weekend. $50,000 grand prize. Mini Tyrell won that race at Hickory. It rained a lot, though. It took a long time to get that race in. So hopefully you're nice and dry. And you're snoozing and recovering from being out there every day, I guess. Busch finished stage 2 and 5th. Then he had some questionable strategy choices that dropped in the back. Full season point system after sound bad. The stock. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, so we're talking a little bit about Mark Martin and the full season points battle. The stock on that went up significantly, yes, after that clip came out, because nobody agrees with that take. Nobody wants to hear people say, "Well, we have to keep moving forward, and this is the best thing for the sport." The bracketed playoff system. Not many people agree with that. Fix the car first, then worry about the play. Well, it's a 2 for 1. I think they need to do both. IndyCar could use playoffs with Palou occasionally. Kirkwood clocking. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see a playoff system the way that we have going to IndyCar. I think a points championship, the way that IndyCar has and the way that F1 has and the way that NASCAR used to have, is absolutely the right way to do it. It's the way every major motorsport has done it. No other motorsport adopts the systems we have in the NASCAR world, right? They look at us and they go, wow, that's interesting. They're trying that. And then they go, huh? And then they go do their own thing over there in the other side of town. So it's, do you like Chris Buescher? Will he make the playoffs? Right now, he's making the playoffs. I think it's going to be a battle between the 17 and the 60. It'll be interesting. I read the motorsport in America has a full season point system, even dirt racing. Yeah, it's not a popular system. The playoff system we have now is not a popular system in the racing and motorsports world. It is not widely adopted, and I think there's a reason for it. If the car gave, thank you for the follow, by the way, Frosty the Snowman. I think if the car gave a better product, NASCAR could get away with the current playoff system. They could, but it doesn't. So it's tough it'd be tough. I don't think the win and you're in is the solution either way. All right, let's go back to YouTube. Hold on, sorry guys. I'm happy for Byron, solid driver, and a Lego maniac. I'm happy that he won. I think it helped solidify his kind of legacy, but his performance at Hendrick, He won Daytona, right? And then he had a couple of races this year that felt like were his to lose, and he did. So it's like, okay, he got one back. He's got it back now. I mean, everybody expects the 24 car to be in the playoffs. They know the team is good enough. They know the driver is good enough. It's not a shock that he belongs in the playoff picture. It's just how many wins can he get in that 24 car? People expect that car to win. So I think it was a good thing for them and that team. Supercars playoff system. What is it? Supercars has a playoff system base of NASCAR without the win in your in part. Well, that would certainly change things too. If they just removed the win in your in part or awarded points differently. I mean, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen on the playoff stuff, and everybody's got an opinion on what works. I think for me, a 10 race chase wouldn't be awful, or just a full season points standing. And I know guys can run away with it, right? But there are other sports outside of motorsports that run this system too. The Premier League is English soccer, English football. You can, if you win enough games in a year, you can win the championship, a month before it's over. But I think that makes other parts of the sport more competitive, right? So if a champion is already crowned, with 10 races left, that's where things like the in-season challenge come in and matter more. There's your bracket, right? All right, so you got one guy who's running away with it. Denny Hamlin's got 4 wins this year. He's running away with it, right? Well, now we have this challenge at the point of the year where maybe it seems like things are becoming a little bit humdrum. Now you've got an opportunity to focus on other parts of the sport. I thought the in-season challenge this year was really great. I thought being able to focus on somebody like Ty Dillon, ultimately he loses out at Indy to Ty Gibbs, but I thought it was great to highlight these middle-of-the-pack kind of guys that are not getting the love that maybe they deserve, instead of talking about the same 6 guys that run at the front every week. I thought that part of it was really interesting. Byron could have had 5 wins by now. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Will Chase win the regular season point standings? Let's see where he is. I mean, he's in second to William Byron now after this win in terms of points. There are 18 points separate the 2 drivers at Hendrick, 24 and the 9. So certainly possible. Triple Crown, Bristol. What'd you guys think of that baseball game at Bristol? Anybody go to that? Anybody see that or go to that? Or I saw Breakhard was there, I guess, and gave his kind of recap of it. He described it as like NASCAR Firefest, which is crazy. But I guess they were just not prepared for how many people showed, and it seemed a little bit rough. But yeah, Chase and Larson do not like each other. Not after this week, they don't. If they did before, they certainly don't now. What race do you think Denny's getting his 60th win? Oh man, I don't know. I think it's coming though. He's going to end up with it. I think of the next couple of races here. He could win Richmond. That'd be 59, right? So he'd need one more after that. He could get it this year, depending on what he wants to do, depending on what tracks he feels strong at. They sold out of food in 2 to 3 hours before the game started. Oh my God. Yeah, not prepared. The coolest thing about that seemed to be the home run car. Was they hit the home run and the car did a lap around the track? That was kind of cool with the flag out the window. Seemed like the rest of it was kind of a mess, but I wasn't there. I didn't watch. I'm not a baseball guy. Do you sell the hat? I don't sell the hat. You can go to stockcarsociety.com. They have these Raise Hell, Praise Dale hats. They don't come with the patch on the side. That was my little arts and crafts addition to it. Bought the patch on eBay. The Daytona 500, the 98 500. It was Dale's first win. So I figured that was the appropriate patch to have. Denny wins Richmond and Bristol. Certainly 2 tracks that he's unbelievably strong at. NHL game at Bristol is going to go crazy. I would love to see a Winter Classic there. I think like a Preds. Who else is over there? Preds Blue Jackets seems to be like geographically making sense, right? Or maybe Canes Preds. That'd be cool at Bristol if they were able to pack that place, and they would pack that place out. Hockey fans are crazy. The injection of money into that town too would be insane if they really started to do more. If they started to do more events there. Nashville and Carolina would make the acronym NASCAR. Yes, it would. It's written in the stars. Destiny. Buddy's got it figured out, ladies and gentlemen. That's why Buddy Pulley's the man. The Buddy Pulley. Also, too, I drink my Celsius over ice. You never tried that. You should do it. It's delicious and nutritious. Anyway, this weekend, NASCAR was back on NBC. Lee Diffie and the team in the booth. They had a new intro. They had some new things that they were getting involved with on NBC. This is the second time NASCAR has been back in the Cup Series to Iowa. Don't get tipsy off that Celsius. Only kings drink it over ice. If you don't drink your drinks cold, I can't trust you. If it's designed to be drank cold and you drink it at room temp, we have to have a conversation. I can't do that. I'm just not, it's got to be cold. It's got to be cold. Are there any other sports that you're into? Yes. Big race guy, but I love hockey. My love for hockey hurts every year because I'm a New York Rangers fan. So I live in a world of New York sports disappointment. I love the New York Knicks. Now, I say I love the New York Knicks, right? That doesn't mean I'm a basketball fan. I'm a New York Knicks fan. Those are two different things. Two different things. Anyway. And I'm a casual baseball enthusiast. Casual, very casual. I watch football. I watch the NFL. I am, again, a New York sports fan. The New York Giants are have been one of the most disappointing teams over the last 3 or 4 years. So I casually watch the NFL. But yeah, that's kind of my sports fandom in a nutshell. Anyway, coverage was not great. Don't care for the broadcast team. I like Lee Diffie on NBC. I think he brings the energy. I think they really called the Byron battle really good. Oh, yeah, cricket. I'm a big cricket guy. Big cricket. I used to watch this sport called Pro Kabaddi. If anybody's ever heard of Kabaddi. And it's it's from India. And it's like this crazy juiced up. It's this crazy juiced up like version of tag. And I don't know how to describe it in words, like the rules and regulations. Like they play on a rectangle shaped mat, and there's teams, and it's like you got to cross over the other team's lines, and for however far you get into other people's zones, you get points, but you have to be able to get back. The other team is allowed to try to like play defense. It's very interesting. It's a ton of fun to watch. It's electric. It used to be on Hulu. I don't know what happened to it. I used to watch it all the time, and I would like to know where it went. But it is one of those like obscure kind of international sports that like people are like, oh, I would watch that. Sal would. So anyway. I wish every TV network had Dale Jr. signed for the whole season. He is the guy. He is the best. One of the best. Him and Letarte together are fantastic. Adam Alexander, fantastic. But I like Lee Diffie. This cup race was something different. I think the highlight of the day, and for those who have watched a little bit of what Taylor's published, a lot of cautions in the start of that third stage. Just what was going on with the cautions? Yellow, 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 yellow. Spinning, wrecking, getting driven up. Guys driving each other up the track. It was kind of a mess at the end there. So the biggest battle that I saw that ruffled feathers would be Elliott and Larson together. So he was not happy. Dale, Lee, Steve in the booth, Sal and Buddy at the desk. My brother in Christ, there is no better setup than that right there. Let's lock arms. Let's speak it into the universe and make it happen today, all right? I'm here for it. Sal and Buddy doing live NASCAR reporting on national television would be incredible. I don't know what the brand safety would be on that, but it would be incredible. Anyway, let's go to results. mean, the accent conversation isn't real. He's from Australia. He talks the way he talks. He does, I think, beyond the haters of Lee Diffie, right? Somebody just mentioned that. Diffie haters are hilarious. Oh my God, not an Australian accent. Are we, as opposed to what, Dave Hobbs from the late 70s? You know, Adrian, good morning. I don't know what people expect from Lee Diffie. What you see is what you get. And I think he does a great job of crafting stories during the broadcast. That is something unique that he does better than most broadcasters in any sport, is he's able to kind of, he guesses it right. He picks it right. And is able to craft a story around winners or particular storylines that are happening on the track that normally people don't pay attention to, or the average fan's not paying attention to. And I think that's part of what makes him so good. Yes, I agree with Adrian. Well, that's part of it too. Denver makes a good point here in the YouTube chat. Lee Diffie gives NASCAR an international feel. And I think that's what they're looking for. We talk about like their initiatives to bring back like their legacy audience. This is part of what they're doing in the other side of the marketing model. Is, yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to try to retain our blue collar audience, but we're also pushing into new audience bases. And Lee Diffie at NBC is part of that, where you're getting that feeling. People internationally recognize his voice and they will hear him and be attracted to the sport. That is, I guess, the idea. I think to some extent it works. So, I think it's just a balance. It's different, obviously, than what most fans are used to over the last however many years when we haven't had that type of broadcaster, but I think it's great. All right, we're 43 minutes in here. I haven't even started on the show sheet. I haven't even started. Stock Car Society is where the hat come from. Good guys over there. See, we're changing hearts and minds in the chat on TikTok right now. Tire wear mattered a lot in this race. Aero mattered a lot. Restarts mattered a lot. I would love to see, this race felt a lot like Dover to me at the Cup level. Show sheet's overrated. Give the people, well, the people control it. The people, I'm very easily distracted from the show sheet. So the more the people get in here, the more the people will get what they want ultimately. They restock once a millennium, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't speak too much to their inventory. It's tough. It's one guy doing it all. So anyway, I don't love the aero blocking in Iowa. It felt very Dover-esque. I think that was something that the teardown kind of highlighted, but it's hard not to agree with. These cars just they leave a wake behind them that is just, you can't pass. You can't pass. It's a really rough deal. Uh-oh, my internet connection is doing a thing. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Okay. The internet did a thing, and then a sound played. I don't know what the sound was, but I think we're back. I think it's okay. We've recovered. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of the way the next-gen car runs at these kinds of tracks. And Iowa, it just is a difficult place because they repaved the bottom line, right? And now it's a one-lane track. Like, you can't do anything on the top line. Once we saw what happened this weekend when guys were getting squeezed up there or trying to run an alternate line, whether it was in the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series, it's just wasn't working. We saw a lot of spins. Denny Hamlin spins. Larson got out of shape a few times up there. Hocevar was up there with a few getting out of line. My neighbor's internet is slowing me down. Yeah. They know that I'm streaming and they want to stop my meteoric rise to the top of NASCAR Talk Media. I was really impressed with the 19 team. Their 6th pole of the year. Obviously didn't totally translate in the race. They did finish second ultimately, but they won that pole. And there was some strategy throughout the day for the 19, but it was a good run for them. They are a dominant team this year with Briscoe. He is the real deal for sure. SVG had a few spins to talk about as well. A lot of cautions that shook things up. Those cautions gave Ryan Preece the chance to go from 30th to 5th. I think he drove the car back about 20 spots too at one point in the race as well. So I don't remember Old Iowa. So when people tell me that the Old Iowa was better, I have to believe them because what I see now, I'm not so sure about. I think it's great. The fans are fantastic. The market is great. People pack it out. It's where NASCAR should be. I just think, you have to do something to help the product a little bit. Who is this? Oh boy. Commentator is so simple yet so artistically complex. Call the action, but be in the moment and create stories. Yes, it's very hard. I've tried to do broadcasting at local tracks, and it's not. You listen back to yourself, and it's not easy. Yeah, I heard that they had more ARCA audience, more ARCA people in the stands for that race than they had for IndyCar. So I don't know how true that is, but that seemed to be the sentiment. Was really impressed again with Keselowski this week. That 6 car looked really fast. The strategy, though, again, all those cautions coming early in stage 3. I mean, Kyle Busch says it best. Like, everyone's a clown. We're all clowns. We all drive cars for a living. He was involved in some stuff on pit road where he and the 48 and the 99 all kind of were trying to mix and match and find their happy home in their pit stall. The 8 hung it out a little further than he needed to. The 48 didn't like that. They got into it a little bit. It got a little messy. It got messier as the day went on. Is kind of the idea here at Iowa. But some of the cream always rises to the top, right? And that's why you have people like Ryan Blaney, who won this race last year in 4th. You've got drivers like Alex Bowman, who, again, people want to give a lot of criticism to, finishes with a 7th place finish. Joey Logano in 9th. Austin Dillon rounds out the top 10. I think other drivers could have capitalized better. Chase Elliott, he got kind of mired back in some battles, probably ones he didn't need to be in. But Briscoe, I mean, Byron wins this race, but Chase Briscoe, Brad Keselowski, I thought Ryan Preece again. I'm hot on Ryan Preece right now. If you can't tell, I think it's coming. The win's coming. Bubba Wallace with a bent toe link finished in 6th. By the way, he made a big media splash before this race, just talking about how because of the win and you're in, he feels locked in. Like he feels like he doesn't need to stress. He doesn't care if he qualifies 35th. It's just doing the things right that they're doing, and they don't have to worry about making the playoffs anymore. It's going to change that style for that team. But I'm glad to see I was happy to see him make those comments and then back it up with a performance that doesn't show that he doesn't care, right? Like, he does care, but he's not worried anymore. But he's still finishing 6th, which is like, all right, it's not like he's just asleep at the wheel. So Kyle Busch, absolutely, some credit to him finishing 20th. I mean, he started in dead last. There were times in the race at the end of stage 2 there where he was, end of stage 2, he was 5th. Finished that stage, just didn't end up with the strategy that he needed to finish the race, but definitely was up and down all day long, which is a tough thing for that team. Having that accident happen in practice and trying to recover from it is not easy. Bubba was awesome last week, was down. Yep, it's a good deal. I need a Kyle win or I will combust. A lot of people need a Kyle win. In the Xfinity Series, real quick, well, I got to do some of the show sheet because we're going to get way off track and not do any of it. Sam Mayer wins this race. Back-to-back wins at Iowa for Sam Mayer. He has a knack for this place. He, Jesse Love, Ross Chastain, Connor Zillich, and Harrison Burton round out the top 5. There's a Harrison Burton top 5 alert, ladies and gentlemen. I do think Harrison Burton is a good race car driver. I do think that. People will tell me I'm wrong. I disagree with them. I think Harrison Burton can race. So it's been a rough road for him, up and down, left and right, all over the place. But you know, there he is, top 5 at Iowa. Carson Hocevar in that 11 car. Obviously, we talked a little earlier, that vacant car now at Colleague. That was the Josh Williams ride, now being open. So Hocevar in there subbing in this week in that 11 machine. Just shows what that car can do. Sheldon Creed finished 7th, Sieg in 9th, or I'm sorry, Sieg in 8th, Quapple in 9th, and Christian Eckes finishes 10th. Any notables here? This is a race standings. Yeah, Justin Bonsignor ran in this race, which I did not realize he had run this race. He finished a very respectable 12th. There was some beating and banging going on, some real tough competition between the junior motorsports guys. Where did Austin Hill finish? I don't know. He's not on my list this week. That suspension was worthy of his crimes. 1 race suspension. They stripped him of his playoff points. He'll still get in because it's a win and you're in deal, but they'll ask for the waiver. I don't know. It made sense. There was an argument, there was an argument to be made, I guess, for the car snapping back and driving back down the hill. But I don't think you can look at that as a sanctioning body or as an official and think anything but, he wrecked Almirola. Especially with the past offenses he's had. I think maybe if he was a little squeaky clean, people would probably have given him more benefit of the doubt. But not in this situation. They're not going to do that. Matt DiBenedetto. Can we talk about the caution that happened? Matt DiBenedetto ends up busted up, right? Cars leaking oil all over the track, and they don't fly a caution. They let the cars run over oil on a hot racetrack. It was very reminiscent of like years ago when, there was oil leak. I forget where it was, but I can hear the clip of Dale Jr. in my head. The whole field's shouting at the tower, like there's oil on the track, there's oil on the track. And it took, I think it was the 20 car back then, to spin to ultimately bring out another caution. But a mess, surely. Corey Day finishes 24th. He battled with Kyle Larson last night in the Dirt Series as well. That was interesting to see the two of them go toe-to-toe. Kind of the old guard and the new guard coming in at the Hendrick camp. I like Corey Day. I think Corey Day is an interesting guy. I don't know a ton about him, but I think he's an interesting guy. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think if drivers like Kyle Larson are the ones you're competing against and competing against with regularly, you got something. Do you know what happened with the hauler crash? There was a hauler crash for Club Racing. Our friend Chris Golden here is a part-time driver for Club Racing. They are looking for support right now. They're a small team, 2 cars though, trying to do the right things in the ARCA series. Talk about blue collar in NASCAR. Alex Clubb owns a landscaping company. Chris is an oil field guy. These are guys who work all week and go racing on the weekends. They're racing on old teams' scuffs, just out there for the love of it. So there was an accident and they did lose a lot of their equipment, and the car's all banged up, and there's going to be some really tough choices for them moving ahead. But I know if you donate to their GoFundMe, Chris will send you a one-of-one hero card or unique hero cards that he's creating. So that is what I've seen in terms of that hauler crash. Moon Equipment also had a hauler crash on their way out to Bonneville this week, or last week. I don't know if people follow any of that type of racing, but they flipped over on I-80. Dangerous bit of highway there. But hopefully everybody's okay in those situations. God bless their hearts. It's super expensive to race in 2025. Yeah, it's. I mean, I joke about myself, right? I would love to get in a race car, not even to race, but just to experience what it's like. I think it helps me better as someone who talks about this. Like, it's not fair for me to sit here and yap about racing and have never really raced anything. Like, go-kart's great. There was potentially an opportunity at Wall Stadium for me to get in the mini stocks and run some races, but as of time is it? Let's see. At 8:24 a.m. this morning, they canceled that Sunday series at Wall Stadium, so there will be no mini stock racing at Wall anymore on the inside track. Garden State quarter midgets will still be something that runs, but the bigger mini stocks won't run anymore. So I don't know what the future is like for Sal, but I would love to just hop into something to feel something in my life. Anyway, I have not done the NASCAR racing experience. I know it is unbelievably expensive depending on where you go. I mean, we're talking hundreds or in the $1,000 range. But I haven't been able to do that yet. If for some reason Busch left RCR, where do you think he would fit? With his son on a truck team somewhere. Now, there's a great rumor that I'd like to start. I don't know how true it is, but we'll start the rumor here. You can all tell me if you've heard anything. But I've heard whispers on the internet. Spire is looking to sell their truck equipment that they had originally purchased from KBM. And they want to get into the Xfinity series. That's where they want their primary pipeline to come from moving forward. Now, that would leave a lot of truck equipment open for someone to purchase, if this is all true. Now, again, none of this is confirmed, just stuff you hear online. But would be interesting if there was a new truck team or a shift in a truck team where Kyle Busch and Brexton are racing together in trucks. That would be very cool to me. Sal Racing incoming? Not me. Unless I end up with some very generous angel investors, I will not be racing anything anywhere fast. People saw me too this week. I was looking at that reskinned or that rebodied Gen 4 car on Marketplace. I got another one for you guys this week. I saved. It's a Days of Thunder replica. It's about 10 minutes from my house here. If guys got it for sale. He wants $76,000 for it. Talk about how it's expensive to go racing. I mean, certainly outside of my wheelhouse, but yeah, it costs over $500 for 8 minutes to race at Charlotte for the NASCAR experience. That is crazy. Crazy. Now, if they would like to invite me down to do some social media content for them and recap my experience and use it as part of their marketing on digital and social platforms, sure we could work something out there where I would just show up and get in the car and they could cover the cost. Wouldn't have to pay me a penny. Just put me in the car. Sure would be cool. But I'd love to get in a car at some point just to, just to see what it's like, just to shake down a car, just to feel something, not at a high level, but just at any level. Thank you. Get stockcarsociety.com. Raise hell, praise Dale. You. Yeah, they have quite the collection over there at Hendrick. They had one on display in the gift shop there for a while. One of the mellow yellow looking machines, or the City Chevrolet machines, I should say. But yeah, they do some cool things over there at Hendrick. They have a lot of the original stuff, considering they built almost all those cars, which is kind of wild. Anyway, but real quick, while I have just remembered talking about Hendrick, we touched a little bit earlier on Rick Ware Racing being worth $150 million, right? In the charter system. If Rick Ware Racing is worth $150 million as an organization, not a knock on them, If that's what they're worth, that's what they're worth. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that kind of figure, no matter who the team is. What is Hendrick worth? What is Joe Gibbs worth? What are these other teams worth in the series? If RWR is worth 150 million. I don't understand how the value is calculated. I guess it's just what investors and owners are, prospective owners are willing to pay to get into the sport. I don't know about billions. I don't think there's a billions attached to it. I think there's hundreds of millions, though. Definitely hundreds of millions in value for larger teams like Hendrick and Joe Gibbs and others. It's befuddling to me. But it's a crazy system to kind of be a business owner or an investor in. And I get why there's so much conversation around the charters and around the playoffs and around how this all works, because this isn't like, Saturday night racing at the local short track anymore. It used to kind of have that vibe, right? You could pull up in your car if you had a car and try to qualify to race. That was the old way. And now you're talking about $150 million organization that's, let's be honest, I mean, the performance isn't there. They're out there just doing what they can, as, maybe they're checking the boxes in terms of their organizational goals, but they're not a competitive cup team week over week. I don't think they're trying to, they're not trying to break barriers. I don't think that's a hot take. But for one car is 150 million. What are you looking at for a 4-car operation? Charters and equipment and the whole thing, branding and equity, and it's crazy. But I just had to get that off my chest. I feel like that was, I had that clip of myself talking about legacy too, and the legacy conversation around their $45 million charter acquisition. Well, no wonder they were trying to get it for $45 million, and no wonder they're taking Rick Ware to court over it, because they don't want to pay $150 million for it. They don't want to pay all that. And I think, the conversation around that too. My last point on this, and then I'll move on. The only reason people know that team is worth that much money is because they went to court over a lawsuit. And the value became public record because they went to court. And I do think it's going to affect the NASCAR lawsuit with 2311 and with FRM, because if they go to court, it will require NASCAR to open up their books and show people just how valuable the series is. And that will be something that I think teams and owners and the court of law will be very interested in. Because this whole argument is that, they're not going to split the pie enough with the teams over the TV money or the branding or the licensing rights or whatever. Whatever the real meat and potatoes of the lawsuit is. I'm not a legal expert. I don't have it in front of me. But I think it'll be really interesting that this is kind of like the appetizer, where we're seeing, how does a court case work? Well, we get all this information out of it. Now we're going to get information from the sanctioning body on what they're worth in December, if it goes that far. Sure seems like it's going to go that far, but once you take the toothpaste out of the tube, really hard to put it back in. So I don't, if I'm looking at this, I'm heading out. If this is a movie, I'm heading out to grab my bucket of popcorn now, because I don't want to miss the action when I get back. Because that'll be something. Anyway, also a quick show note for those of you who are here and used to our Tuesday morning broadcast time. It is currently 5 after 9. We're at the end of our first hour of the show. Appreciate everybody for stopping in. This will be the last Splash and Dash morning show on a Tuesday morning. We have decided collectively that Monday morning, even sooner after the race weekend, we're going to be live right here doing the same show we usually do, but we are going to shuffle back to Monday mornings. I'll be really honest with you guys. I think that makes a lot of sense. There was a hole in the schedule for ATYL where Mondays became a little bit more flexible. We're going to try Monday morning, and then we're going to try Monday night. We don't know in terms of like promotion. Obviously, we have a very dedicated TikTok base, so I appreciate everybody who comes in here every single week and chops it up with me. But we don't know what the promotion's like on a Sunday night for a Monday morning show. Will people really tune in? So I do think it's better, though, in terms of the news cycle to get after it on a Monday. It's fresh in the mind. Headlines are coming out. It also, part of the thought process here is, and we're not competing with radio. We're not competing with the other, the morning drive. We're not competing with other shows like that right now. That's an aspiration of mine. They also use YouTube and other live streaming platforms to promote their content and be live online. But I would like to compete with them at some point. I think as this venture moves forward with this show, I would love to be able to compete with those types of shows. So be really nice to kind of have something different. It'll be a little bit of an earlier wake up time for me because Mondays are a drag for me usually after being out during the weekend. But if I could wake up this morning, I'm sure I could do it on Mondays. But I just want to let everybody know that is something that is coming starting next week. We are going to start at 8 o'clock Monday mornings. Still 2 hours. So I appreciate, everybody's attention. It's not easy, especially on mobile. If you're on mobile, to sit on your phone or on YouTube or on Twitter and kind of lock in for 2 hours. So I appreciate that from everybody who's usually here and part of the core audience and the community here that we've built on ATYL and on TikTok and on Instagram. So that's just a quick change for you. Keep it in mind. Monday mornings will be the time. Freshen your brain. I think what it does too is it opens up some opportunities for some other types of content from me. I think that's something I've kind of talked about behind closed doors is expanding my content base and trying to do some new things as well. But yeah, Dan, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So just keep that in mind as we move forward here. I think it'll be exciting. I think it'll give us the opportunity to do some different things in the future as well. I'll tell you what I did do a little iRacing chat right now. Legends cars at the Scuba Circuit this week was wonderful for me. I didn't win, but good God, I was fast at that track. I will tell you that. Every half hour or every hour, I was pumping. I am not a road racer. I did do the NIS that was rough. That Sunday NIS. There will be another one. I don't know what week it will be, but my other half is working a Sunday. She picked up a shift. So if she's not around, we will be locked into NIS on a Sunday as well. 6 a.m. with Bud Light in hand. I'm listening. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, it was exhausting, that Indy race, but it did a lot of good things for my IR and my SR to outlast. So I'm getting a little bit more into the road racing stuff as well, the sport car racing on iRacing. So maybe there's an opportunity there to do some content and to do some live streams. The thing I think I like about the sport car racing, the way that iRacing kind of operates is they tally your score based on your finishing position. Obviously, that's your iRating, but your safety rating is tallied based on number of turns completed versus number of incident points. And based on that average, there's a formula and it affects your safety rating. The nice part about road courses, especially smaller ones like these Legends cars that I was running, is you get more chances to save yourself. So if you end up beating and banging, especially in Legends cars, it happens frequently. That doesn't mean that you're totally tanked. You get a 4X in an oval race, it's over for you. A 30-lap oval race, it's over because there's not as many corners. Now, when there's 9 corners on a road course, the formula changes drastically, and that gives you a chance to kind of have a better race. Like you can get DNF'd out of a race, or DQ'd out of a race, and it still doesn't affect your safety rating as drastically as if you had gotten DQ'd from a oval track race. So, if you're into iRacing and you're into that kind of stuff, that's something that I'm learning and keeping in mind. I could make a video about my setup. It's behind me. I have a Moza R9, the CRP pedals, next level racing chassis. It's a lot of fun. I used to do a lot more iRacing. I'm glad I don't do as much as I used to because I would lose my mind. A sick video and room tour. I mean, there's not a lot of room to tour. I live in a very small space. I work, eat, sleep, and relax all in one very small area. There is some sick stuff. I just finished setting up over here out of camera shot. I don't think I can even swing the camera to show it live, but I'd like to do something that highlights like all the die casts and pieces of memorabilia I have again. Maybe I'll do a live stream one day where that's the whole live stream. But I've recently gotten some new die casts, and I am like a sick puppy in terms of how many of these things I've started to collect. I'm looking at 8 Martin Truex Jr. diecast right here to the left of me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 more over there, in addition to a number of other diecasts that I've collected as well. So, big diecast guy, big body or sheet metal guy. You can see it on the wall behind me. Typically, if you're on the ATYL channels, you can definitely see more of the backdrop behind me. I have pieces of cars and framed things and little die casts and posters. I have a gas can. I have a flag. I have all kinds of stuff. So also too, I'd love to do some unboxing content. I see a lot of creators doing this unboxing content. Like people send them stuff. Now I'm not asking anybody to send me anything, but if you have a box of NASCAR stuff that you're going to throw in the garbage, I don't care what it is. You want to ship that over to Sal. I would love to be able to make content with it and then utilize that stuff as like a giveaway, even where like it's obvious I'm not gonna be able to keep all the things, right? I can't. I don't have a shed. I don't have a house. I don't have a full house, right? So I don't have places to like keep all this stuff. But what I'd like to do is like almost like a NASCAR memorabilia regifting series where folks who have this stuff and don't know what to do with it, send it to Sal. We'll look it over. We'll do some content for it. I'll shout you out. If you're also a creator or someone in the community, great. Maybe we can unbox it together. Awesome. Do a little live stream action. I'm here for it. And then, if there's some really interesting things in there that I want to hang on to, I'll hang on to a couple of things. Special things, whatever. But the rest of it, I'd like to give away and do it as part of like, just community engagement. Earnhardt diecast is one of the few things I don't have. I don't have a Dale diecast. So, I don't know. That's something I'd like to do, but I'm not going to sit here and like pander with my hand out and ask for free things. I don't know really how to buy like bulk items, like lots of this stuff. So I'm still figuring that out. If anybody has experience with that, I see like Tyler Pinnell doing it on TikTok and a couple other creators as well. I know Taylor's done some diecast hauls. See, Whatnot, I don't know how to use it. I feel like such a boomer, but I don't know how to use Whatnot. Like it looks like social media live videos to me. Like it looks like a TikTok. It looks like a TikTok and eBay had a baby. Ken, if you don't know what to do with your stuff, I'm happy to help. If you're going to hand it on over to the next generation of enthusiasts. But yeah, it's just I'd love to do some of that. Spend a little bit of money is cool, but it's I have to figure out how to use Whatnot. So maybe that's a project for today. Anyway, I'll tell you what, I used ChatGPT to make my show sheet this week, and it is just awful. It's just awful. I like the idea of bidding live too. I would even do that live, like on TikTok or online, where we could bid on lots of items here live. So yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace too, like lots of diecasts. the problem with those is nobody wants to ship you anything, which I understand that, right? It's expensive to ship stuff. I mean, obviously the earnest would be on the buyer to pay for the shipping, but I guess when it's like 10 or 15 die casts, it's not an easy. That's usually what people are selling. It's usually folks who are, cleaning out garages or whatever, and they have a lot of this stuff. So, but I guess I have to kind of figure it out. I wish I could show you all my. I did a little video about that truck that I unboxed. I'd love to do a video about each of the diecasts that I have and the race that it won or was involved with. I have a lot of Truex stuff, so I guess I would start with that if people are interested in that. But I have the Coke 600 car from 2016. I have the 2017 championship car. I have a 2018 Watkins Glen fuel mileage win that he won that race. I have one of the auto owners cars. I don't think it's a winner, but I just like that scheme. I have one of those. The truck from Bristol. I have a 2019 Richmond playoff win. I have the 2019 Coke 600. I think the 2020 Coke 600, 2022 Coke 600. Might be the same piece that's on the wall behind me too. And then I have one of his Busch Series cars as well. But I'd love to go back through and kind of talk about these diecasts and the moments in time that they represent. I think that's something that, I don't know. They're adult collectibles, right? I'm a 30-year-old man collecting toy cars, but I think it's more than just like having this toy. There's definitely something more tangible to it in terms of the fandom and why people collect these things. So I'd love to like do some video on that. And if there's diecasts out there that people don't know what to do with or are looking to part ways with, you don't have to send it to me for nothing. I mean, I'm very happy to pay for things if it's something that I'm interested to add to my collection. I'm very happy to do it. But I would love to kind of highlight that side of the collector. We do a series on ATYL Media called Collector's Corner. Yes, 2016 is the beatdown, the Coke 6 beatdown. Yes, where he led almost the entire race. My favorite moment from that race was that he came into the pit ahead of Denny Hamlin, who was running in second, had a 5-second longer pit stop than Denny. Still got out of the pit stall, still got off pit lane ahead of him, and then went on to gap him another 2 seconds on the restart. So talk about like what questions do you ask your favorite driver if you ever meet them? That's the first question is, hey man, what was going on with that Coke 600 car? I'd love to hear what he says. Anyway, all right, I'm going to run back through kind of what we talked about again. Iowa in the Cup Series. I know some of you have been here for the whole first hour. It's 9:18. We're going to run back through kind of what we did. Yeah, that car had more than 50 extra horsepower in it. This is my pride and joy car, though. This was my like Ahab, my white whale car. I don't know. Again, they're not toys. I feel silly sometimes, but this thing is bad. This thing is badass. This car. Anyway, try not to breathe on it the wrong way. Anyway, William Byron winning this race, his second win of the year at Iowa. Clean Air Byron, the nickname for him, I guess, this year. Briscoe with his 6th pole finishes second to Byron. Brad Keselowski, a great run of speed, led a lot of laps. I think it was like 60 laps led in that 6 car. Just was really able to get after it. Something special the Fords had because Ryan Blaney was right there behind him in 4th. I know even Austin Cindric qualified really well. He was up there in the top 5, the top 3 in qualifying position. Yeah, that's something to talk about that we really haven't touched on yet is the Larson experiencing the racing he's given others for years. It's interesting when you put it like that. But yeah, he gets shuffled out a few times going 4 wide. He ends up at the top of a 4 wide situation a few times at Iowa. He obviously is very frustrated, and he has a little outburst on the radio. It made it to the front page of the NASCAR news part of the website here this morning. Tempers flare radioactive, and it's this clip of him. But I don't think Chase Elliott means to run him that way, but I'd like to know what Larson would have liked him to do. you're in these situations. The cars, you can't pass here. It's very hard to pass at Iowa. Okay, right? We know about the aero blocking. We know how difficult it is to make a move. If you're not making your track position back up on the restarts, where are you going? You're going to have trouble. You're not going to be able to just outrun somebody. It's a one lane kind of track in the corners. So I don't blame Chase for being aggressive and putting drivers, whether they're his teammates or not, in difficult positions. It's the same reason I'm not really buying into this Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar stuff either, where it's like if you back up even for a second and give a guy an edge, it's going to be really hard to get that spot back. It's not like you can just drive back up because your car's faster, you're a better driver technically, and get that spot back. You're going to have to play strategy, because as soon as they pass you, it's the aero block battle. And I don't know. It's difficult to wrap my head around that these cars don't pass like they should. Anyway, regardless. But I think the win for Byron is going to push Hendrick ahead, right? They're always ahead, but it felt like they needed something. It had been a while since we've seen HMS in victory lane. It kind of has been the Denny Hamlin show, for the last couple of weeks in the Cup Series. If I can find the results here. Schedule. That's the one that gives me all the results. Anyway, going back, Chase Elliott was the last HMS driver to win. That was in late June. That was Atlanta Motor Speedway Challenge Round 1. That's what they have, these challenge rounds. That's what they called the races. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I was at Atlanta. Chase wins at Atlanta. So that was the last HMS victory. Before that, it was in May. Kyle Larson was the winner at Kansas. And then we have a lot of JGR. We have a Trackhouse win at the Coke 6. We've got Shane Van Gisbergen. We've got Briscoe at Pocono. We've got Gisbergen again, and Hamlin and Wallace, and now Byron once again. So they definitely needed the win. I mean, it's not often you talk about HMS as like a big, gigantic organization and say, yeah, maybe they need some momentum. But I think in this phase of the season, where traditionally Hendrick has the summer drought, that's always the way they've been. This is something I feel like they needed to kind of remind everyone, hey, we're still here. We're still competitive. We're coming. Playoffs are on their way, and so are we. Yeah, Radioactive is always fun. Blaney always does have a good meltdown. He sure does know how to freak out. Different. It's so funny because he seems like such a even-keeled, kind of tempered guy out of the car. And then he gets in the car. Something happens. Lord, oh Lordy B, get out of this man's way. It's crazy we're talking about them slacking, but they're top 3 in points. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're slacking. They just haven't won in recent time here in this year. Recent time, quote unquote. Like it's Byron, it's Elliott, it's Larson at the top of the points. They run really consistently, which is what gives them those great points days, and that's what keeps them up in the points, in my opinion. And even Bowman is in the top 10 in the points. So it's like it's just an exclamation point, I think, for HMS. It's kind of a way that they get back to what they're used to too. So I think it's good for momentum. I think that's the biggest piece of it for them. They know they're going to be in the playoffs. They know they're going to compete for a championship. One of their, their cars are there, but you want to enjoy the ride along the way too. I think people would look at Chase Elliott in a totally different light with a season-long point system. I think people would really appreciate him in a different way as a driver, just for how consistently he finishes. Same thing with William Byron too. I mean, he 8 top 5s this season. Chase has 7 top 5s this season. Even outside of HMS, though, Denny Hamlin has 11 top fives this year. That's crazy, right? Him and Larson, 11 top fives. It's, I don't know. There's something to be said about the format. Even as you go down this list here, too, Ty Gibbs has 4 top fives this year. I don't think that's awful. I think that's okay. Considering Joey Logano has 2 top fives this year and is in a higher seated position than the 54 car. It is what it is. Denny, Byron, Larson, Elliott, and Bell would feed families in a season-long format? Absolutely. Absolutely. Even Reddick, guys like Reddick and Blaney being like on the fringe. See, that's the thing, too. I don't think the car is changing anytime soon. Ken, thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you being part of the chat. Enjoying the content. We'll keep it coming. That's what we do. Did they already repave? They repaved the bottom lane at Iowa. They did repave the bottom lane at Iowa. They have not repaved the whole track. Might be something they want to consider going forward. Turned into an aero blocking deal, and then guys tried to make moves on the outside and caused a lot of cautions. Caution. In the Xfinity Series, though, Connor Zilic continues to lead the point standings. His performance this weekend at Iowa, you could tell he was kind of maybe stepping into bigger shoes or biting off more than he could chew in some situations. Guy wants to win every race, which is what you have to do. He's hungry. Even after the wins that he has, he's still hungry. And I love the Koa cars, the camping sponsorship he's got. Anyway, but he just was riding that thing on edge all day long, trying to find something that other people didn't have. You know, I think if you asked him now, he'd look back and maybe run that race a little differently. Those junior motorsports cars are freaky fast, though. Let's see. I want to pull up Xfinity news on NASCAR.com, and it's a dead page. They have no page there. Okay. Results. Anyway. Sam Mayer does lock himself into the playoffs, though, with this win in the Xfinity Series. This is his first win of the year. He had 10 of the fastest laps of the day, too, in that win. Ross Chastain had a fast race car, too, in that 9. He was part of the deal where junior motorsports cars kind of got together, and he ended up in the wall there. But he had 42 really fast laps, according to this data. He just, it's not a surprise to me. Oh, this is a long thing. What does this say? Timeline? This uses AI? Okay. I think he's going to win the title. I think it's Zilic's to lose. Just like Corey Heim. I think, Corey Heim's regular season champion already. It's his championship to lose now. Ross Chastain, though, finished 3rd in this race. Sam Mayer, Jesse Love, Ross Chastain, Connor Zilic in 4th. Harrison Burton wrapping up a 5th place position finish here. Hocevar in 6th in that 11 car. Sheldon Creed in the 00. Ryan Sieg in the 8th in the 39. Carson Quapple in the 1. Christian Eckes 10th in the 16 car. So there's also other news, too, in the trucks. Caden Honeycutt is moving on from Nice Motorsports. He has signed with a new manufacturer and a new team. So it kind of starts the silly season conversation where Honeycutt's going to, this is the theory online based on some tweets from teams and things like that, is that Honeycutt's going to step into the 11 car next year and Heim will move up to something else. Cup, Xfinity, something. We've seen Heim with time in those 2311 cars as an open car. Not sure if they make a spot for him there or there's an opportunity in the Toyota camp, because I'm sure Toyota doesn't want to lose him as a manufacturer. That's not a guy you want to feel like you have to go out and compete against now after he was in your development system. Hold on real quick. I'm going to try to find the hang on. I'm going to try to find the news notes that I have. Here we are. Anyway. Because we do have some updates too this weekend. I believe Chris Buescher is getting back in a truck for Thor Sport. He's going to be in the 66 running at Watkins Glen. Do a little Watkins Glen preview here now. We got about a half an hour left in the show. He'll be running in the truck series. Sorry, I scrolled back too far in my notes. This is way too far. Way too far. Way too far. Whoa. Also, Chris Wright is back in the ARCA series. He raced this weekend at Iowa, wrecked himself, cleared himself up into the wall, or cleared himself up into another driver and spun himself off his nose into the wall. I don't know if anybody saw that clip. I am not a Chris Wright guy. I'm not going to sit here and slander the guy over and over again. I've said my piece about him, but just tore up that race car this weekend for Venturini. Brought it back down pit road. The whole thing. Whatever. I think the positive side of the ARCA experience for Venturini is that Jade Avedisian is going to come in and be a part of that program part-time as well. So she has a multi-race agreement with Venturini and Toyota to kind of take that next step. Avedisian's running in, I believe she's running late models and things like that in North Carolina right now, just stepping up a little at a time, has good sponsorship. So it's time for her to kind of like take that leap. So it's awesome to see her get that chance. Greg Biffle will also be back in action in the ARCA series. He'll be back in the number 23 car at Tri-City Raceway in Washington on August 9th. That is this weekend coming up. He has 19 Cup wins. He's an Xfinity and truck champion, for those of you who don't know, the Big Biff. And he finished 9th in that race last year. So he seems to like this track, seems to like this race. Greg Biffle. Sorry, going through these notes. There is a young man who has sold his Trans Am team to move on into the truck series. He'll be at Watkins Glen. Let's see if I click on this, if it gives me if I can pronounce his name correctly, would be a miracle of God. He's going to run the 22. Gian Buffamante. Gian. Gian Buffamante in the 22. He'll make his debut Watkins Glen in the 22 for RBR. So that's a kind of a new driver. Something happening there. Sorry, this is so... I'm just scrolling through here. I want to talk a little bit about NASCAR 25 as well. The game. I'm very excited about it. Very excited about NASCAR 25. They released some driver lineups that would kind of get you excited. ARCA and Xfinity. They haven't released the Cup lineup yet. A lot of content going around about that. So if you're interested in racing games and being a part of this simulation experience, I guess, they're getting closer to simulations everywhere now versus like real arcade style racing games. It'll be a pretty stacked sheet of drivers that you can race around or race with in the new NASCAR 25 game. iRacing is developing NASCAR 25. It runs on a different engine, but it'll be similar to iRacing in a lot of ways, I would imagine. What are your thoughts on Spire buying Kaulig? I don't know that to be true, so I don't know if I have thoughts on it. I know that Spire was potentially looking at expanding into the Xfinity series, maybe leaving some of their truck stuff behind. That would be an interesting play. I know Kaulig has kind of come out after releasing Josh Williams and they've made comments about how they want to keep their Xfinity team and how it's a cornerstone of their competitiveness as a team. So, yeah, Dale Earnhardt broke that news to me last night with Flirting with Disaster being a part of the soundtrack on NASCAR 25. Zilich going to drive the 45 truck as well. Sorry, I'm big on trucks right now. Zilich going to drive the truck, by the way. It's going to start at Glen, I believe. Yeah, he's going to start at Watkins Glen, and then Bailey Curry will also drive that truck again. That'll start at Richmond. So some drivers just kind of playing musical chairs right now between truck and Xfinity as teams look for drivers and are starting to set up what they're going to do in the offseason. Justin Haley is going to get in the 11 in the Xfinity series this year, as well as Michael McDowell. He's going to get in for Watkins Glen. I'm curious to see what all these guys are able to do in trucks. I think some of the more seasoned Cup veterans that go down into trucks are going to love their time in the truck series because the trucks drive so different. And even the Xfinity series, I mean, I think there's guys who are going to enjoy that type of racing a little bit differently. Or maybe better, maybe worse. I don't know. But the cars in the Xfinity series drive so different from the Cup cars. So maybe some of the old school racers will feel like they've got a little bit more of a competitive edge. I think the trucks are one of the hardest to drive. I think the Xfinity cars are really difficult too, especially with the aero and the way that you can kind of race kind of like the old days where there's quite a bit of you can do without making contact with people. Sorry, I'm very distracted by my phone today, and it's only because I am waiting for a phone call. Waiting for a phone call today, and I don't have it yet. Sorry. Anyway, I think this is just the beginning though of silly season. Truly, it's going to be a show, especially with the lawsuit, especially with some of the other things that are happening in the sport right now. It should be a real treat this year. Let's go through the game roster. So NASCAR 25. Officially announced by iRacing August 1st in the Xfinity field. Parker Retzlaff, Brennan Poole, Mason Massey, Harrison Burton, Nick Sanchez, Leland Honeyman, Thomas Annunziata made it in, which is really cool. He's a local guy for me. Thank you. I like this shirt. It's one of my faves. The Cups to Truck Series official. I met Ricky Stenhouse in this shirt. He was like, dude, that's sick. I was like, thanks, dude. You're sick. Don't punch Carson Hocevar in the face, please. Anyway, Ryan Ellis, Josh Balicki, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Corey Day made it in the 17 car. Jeremy Clements, Sawalich, Almirola, Jones, and Taylor Gray all in there for Joe Gibbs Racing. Greg Van Alst, Joey Gase. Jordan Anderson Racing has Jeb Burton, Blaine Perkins, Jordan Anderson, and Austin Green. We've got the entire cast of characters for Junior Motorsport, right? Dale Jr. has been an intricate part of this game becoming a reality. So Carson Quapple, Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Daniel Suarez, Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Connor Zilich, all part of their driver roster in the new game. Colleague has Daniel Dye, Josh Williams, and Christian Eckes. Chad Fincham will be in the game. Preston Pardis, Jesse Love, and Austin Hill. Kyle and Ryan Sieg. Ryan Truex will make it in for Sam Hunt Racing and Dean Thompson as well. Patrick Emmerling and Garrett Smithley, as well as Matt Benedetto and Anthony Alfredo, all going to be a part of this Xfinity roster for NASCAR 25. The truck series, there's quite a diverse group here. Names you may have heard, some that I've never heard, teams I've never heard of, to be really honest with you. So FDNY Racing has Brian Duzat in as their driver. Floridian Motorsports has Jason Alexander. Freedom Racing Enterprises has Spencer Boyd. Spencer Boyd follows me on Instagram. Great guy. Front Row has Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith. GK has Clay Greenfield. Halmar Friesen Racing will have Stuart Friesen as their driver in the 52. Timmy Hill will be in the race under his own team. McNally Hagelman has Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Hemrick, Connor Mosak, and Jack Wood. I think you see those cars pretty prominently featured each and every week in the Craftsman Truck Series. Nice Motorsports, again, this is a pretty stacked lineup. That 44 truck gets a lot of different drivers, a lot. So you got Bailey Curry, Connor Jones, Josh Balicki, Matt Gould, Matt Mills, Ross Chastain, and Caden Honeycutt, all in those cars. Honeycutt, obviously, we know now, probably going to be making a change over to another car later this year. We'll probably run in the 52 the rest of the year for the injured Stuart Friesen. We'll see. Norm Benning will be in the game, believe it or not, which is crazy. What a throwback, Norm Benning. Ream Brothers will have Corey Dennison, Josh Ream, Stephen Malozzi, and Frankie Muniz. Miss Frankie Muniz making noise, you know? I know that it's been a rough ride for him in that 33, and I don't know. I love to see him win a race, really. Roper Racing, Corey Roper will be a part of that experience for his team. Rackley War will have Dawson Sutton. Spire will include Corey LaJoy, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Raja Caruth, and Andres Perez de Lara in their 77 machine. ThorSport. Do I need to read all these? I'm almost at the end, I promise, if you don't want to hear me read names. ThorSport will have Jake Garcia, Johnny Sauter, Luke Baldwin, Luke Fenhouse, Matt Crafton, Ty Majeski, and Ben Rhodes. And then Tricon rounding out the field here. Brandon Jones, Brett Cruz, Lawless Allen, William Sawalich, Tony Breininger in the car. That 5-car with that Sunoco scheme, one of the sharpest looking trucks on the track every single time it's there. Again, like Frankie Muniz, would love to see Tony Breininger win a race. Seems to, she's on the right team, in the right equipment to get it done. Corey Heim will also be in the game. That's why I say she's in a good place, because she's teammates with Corey Heim. Tanner Gray and Gio Ruggiero will also represent Tricon Garage in their respective cars. And there's a list for this list for if I read you this whole list for ARCA, you'd get tired of hearing me talk. So I'm not going to read it. I'm making that choice. All right. So some notables from the ARCA lineup for NASCAR 25 is Isaac and Jason Kitzmiller are in this game as brothers together. Alex and Brian Clubb for the 86 team, or the 86 Club Racing, 03 Club Racing. We've got Corey Day doing double duty. He's in one of these cars as well. Timmy Hill is down here in the ARCA series as well, representing. We got Willie Mullins, who's a real kind of blue collar guy, cutting his teeth week over week. He will also be in that car. Thad Moffitt will be in the car as well. Brendan Butterbean Queen. He has been the man in ARCA this year. Paulus Allen, Isabella Robusto, Jake Finch, the Venturini Motorsports crew will be there as well. So a lot of really great drivers. Not that you needed to hear me list them all off, but I do think there's some good things happening for that game. It'll be out on console. It'll be out on console and PC. October 14th is the release. I love iRacing, so I'm going to stick with iRacing for as long as I can, but I am interested to see, I don't know if I'll be the first person to buy this game and start playing it right off the rip. But I will tell you that it's something that I'm really interested in seeing come back, because, the NASCAR Heat Ignition, or NASCAR Ignition, whatever that last installment of, NASCAR 21 Ignition, was not it. It was such a huge miss, and I think people have talked about it enough. Heat 5 shut down their servers, so console gamers are kind of out in the cold right now in terms of what they can do online multiplayer. So obviously, running Heat on console is still a viable option if you want to scratch that itch and go racing on your console. But it's certainly not the same as iRacing, and it's not the same as being able to have like hosted or online lobbies with friends and things like that. So I am really excited for NASCAR 25. I think it's going to fill a big hole in the industry, and a part of racing that people, they look at NASCAR and they go, all they do is turn left, and they think they can do it. Great. Get the game and see if you can do it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for people to, especially as new fans, enter into the sport through all the different marketing initiatives that NASCAR has done over the last few years. It'd be really cool to see how this game succeeds. I think it will be a success. But it'd be interesting to see how this game succeeds moving forward with all that. All right, we got about 15 minutes left in the show today. I'm not going to go over, I promise. Alex Club, we were just talking to Chris Golden this morning, club racing driver. Got about 15 minutes left here. I promise I'm not going to go over today. I've gone over enough times in the past that I try to be cognizant of the fact that I'm going to keep it to an even 2 hours today. That's my goal. Anybody have any hot takes or topics of conversation they want to get into here today? Go back to the comments again. We were talking a little bit about Iowa. It was a good weekend, though, I think, overall. I think Watkins Glen is going to be one of these places that you're going to get a new winner. So I'd be really interested to kind of see what happens here. Oh, I need to do my fantasy too. I'm interested to see if the 87 is here. Yes. Yes, it is. So Connor Zilic is going to run at Watkins Glen in a cup car, is what I'm gathering. Does anybody know that for certain? Catherine Legg will also run. Is this an official Watkins Glen Cup Series race? Yeah, this is an official from NASCAR. We did talk a little bit about the club racing stuff. If you do have it out of the kindness of your heart to make a donation to them, I know Chris is sending out hero cards even for people who donate $1. They have a GoFundMe page. The tough for teams to rebound from kind of big financial things. This is a big financial thing for them. 2-car team just trying to make it work. They're on a shoestring budget. They're regular guys just out there doing it. So just raising awareness around that and helping them out in any way we can, whether it's a like, a follow, a social media post, or something, goes a long way. Daytona is the place to be. I love Daytona. Daytona is a great track to be hanging out at. I think Buescher and Priest could make a run for the win at the Glen. I think so too. I think those RFK cars are freaky fast. Brad was fast last year. Buescher was fast here last year. Won this race. That'd be exciting to see who can kind of do it. What's up, Easton? How are you? I'm back every Tuesday morning. Well, now again, every Monday morning, 8 o'clock. We're gonna change the show time to 8 a.m. through ATYL here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter/X, as well as on TikTok. So you'll be able to find me at 8 o'clock in the mornings on Monday. But I've been doing well. It's been a good season so far. Let's see, are there any unique entries for Watkins Glen? I think the most unique, JJ Yaley will run in the Syracuse football NIL number 44 car for the New York racing team, for NY Racing, whatever you want to call them. And I think Catherine Legg and Connor Zilic are the other two notables coming back for Watkins Glen. I wouldn't count out Catherine Legg here for a very good day here. I think that 78 car is getting better all the time. Even though she's not racing weekly, I've talked very highly of Catherine Legg over the last couple of weeks. I mean, her run at Chicago was great. Her run at Indy was great. I think it's just a string of great things that are happening over there, to be able to now come to a track that she's semi-familiar with from her previous racing. I think is a big step for her to be able to find some success. That's awesome, Adam. That is awesome. Did you see Zilic is running in the first truck series? Yeah, so there's going to be some mixing and matching, I think, over there in that 52 truck. I think Caden Honeycutt's going to run some of those. It'll be different. There'll be some different people jumping in and out of that truck. I don't have any official information on what they're doing with that yet. I think it's, what did they say? We said it was Zilic though this weekend at Watkins Glen. That's for sure in the truck series. That also reminds me too, we're going to go to the entry list for I don't know if we have them yet. It's still really early in the week. Or yeah, it's only Tuesday. So I don't think you're going to get see entry list for the Xfinity series. Okay. Yes, we do have it. I just like to see any notables. Preston Pardis will be in the 07 for SS Greenlight. Shane Van Gisbergen will be in the 9 for Junior Motorsports. Michael McDowell will be in the 11 in the Xfinity series this weekend at Watkins Glen. Austin Hill will be back in the 21 after serving his 1 race suspension. Kaz Grala will be in the 24 for Sam Hunt Racing. The 35 is listed here for Joey Gase Motorsports, but no driver announced just yet. Thomas and Unziata will be racing in the 70 this weekend. Connor Zilich in the 88, obviously. So really just SVG and McDowell coming down to Xfinity Land to run this race. And now we're here with the trucks. This is kind of where things are getting silly. Kyle Busch will run at Watkins Glen in the 07 for Spire. Hold on, still scrolling. Ross Chastain will run the 44. Connor Zilich will run the 45. Christopher Bell will run the 52. That's a truck that I expect to be at the front this week in that race with Christopher Bell behind the wheel. Chris Buescher will be in the 66 for Thor Sport. Brent Cruz started his own race team, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is a teenager. He's partnered with Pristine Auction. He sold all his Trans Am cars, or his Trans Am team, whatever he had, his assets in that sport. And he is going to run a truck for Toyota in the 70 Pristine Auctions machine. So Brent Cruz, this is a guy who I think made a headline most recently. I mean, I don't know his racecraft at all, but last time I heard about him was, I think, one of his ARCA cars caught on fire. But I hope he has better luck than that I hope he has better luck in this truck, and he does good things at Watkins Glen. The 45 is the Nice machine. The 52 is the Halmar Friesen Racing 52. Yes, I see that. You guys are going back and forth with that. Parker Kligerman will run the 75 truck this weekend at Watkins Glen. I don't think I heard too much about him doing that, so that's kind of a surprise to me. But that'll be cool. So we'll get Kligerman in there. We'll get Zilich and Chastain running for Nice, or Chastain in the 44, Zilich in the 45, Bell in the 52 this week. Moving forward, it'll be different, I'm sure. There will be other people, but Christopher Bell will run the 52 at Watkins Glen this weekend. And again, also, Kyle Busch will run in the 07. The 07. I'm not going to go much further than 1 week at a time, because I'm sure there are still deals that need to be set up, and I'd like to just take off little mini bites what I can. So that's how we'll structure kind of some of the news stuff for the trucks, is 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. Let's see if there's anything fun happening on social media in the NASCAR world to finish the show up here. Grape Celsius. I got to tell you, I was skeptical. It is good. Brad Keselowski tweeting. Single biggest change I've seen in the Cup Series drivers over the last 10 years is the complete willingness to semi-intentionally wreck each other running 15th or worse. I see it almost every week, and none worse than this week in Iowa. Not sure what to make of it. That's a big statement. That's a big statement from somebody like Brad Keselowski, who's been around this series for a long, long time. I wonder what the Zilich over-under will be for the Cup Series. In terms of finishing position, I'm curious too. That's part of the GridRival content we'll post this week. We are affiliated with GridRival. Use code SLIDEJOB to get 100 free entries when you sign up. Watkins Glen's kind of a special place. I watched Martin Truex win a few races at Watkins Glen. It was great. But that track always gives competitive racing. I think it does. Daytona's home sweet home for you? I wish I could get back down to Daytona soon, I hope. Pardon me. The big double sneeze coming to haunt me here. I love Brad's comment. I think it's how these young drivers were brought up. Well, they don't work on their own stuff, right? Like, I go to short tracks. I go to Wall Stadium every week, and when guys wreck each other, it is a big deal because they have to go back to the shop and fix it. Now, the nice thing about local short track racing that separates it from big national series is the lack of resource, right? And it's a good thing in some respects because drivers throughout the week are helping other drivers put their cars together. So this weekend was the first weekend back for the 77 of Quinn Trimmer at Wall Stadium, right? Quinn Trimmer got into a rough wreck a couple weeks ago. Car was tore to pieces. And the biggest thing we talked about in the booth was that other drivers who were fabricators, who were vehicle wrappers, who were engine builders, who had these skills and abilities, were there helping Quinn Trimmer, someone they were going to have to go back out and compete against, get that car prepped and ready to go back out for the next race, whenever they were projecting they could get all those repairs done. And those guys, you know, they race each other rough, but I don't think there's a semi-intentional wrecking thing that's happening like it does in the Cup Series, like what Brad Keselowski is saying now. Carries a lot of weight coming from a driver like Brad Keselowski too, because he's, I don't know, he's been around a long time. He's seen a lot of different eras of the sport, and for him to feel a certain way about it, I think means more than if someone else had said it. What else do we have going on here? Anything exciting? Chris Buescher's getting some practice laps in the sim. That was yesterday. Little tweet. I like just checking the tweets, just scrolling through, checking the tweets. Haven't done a hot lap yap in quite a while. Haven't done one of those. I'd love to get somebody on the call one of these weeks. I have an idea who I want, but I haven't reached out to them yet. Oh, goodness gracious. Again, too, there was the Cars Tour was at Hickory this weekend, throwback weekend. Mini Tyrell took home the $50,000. You saw me working at Papa John's? Did you? I've never worked at Papa John's, so. We were just talking about the truck series and who's running it. We can go back and look at the entry list again. I appreciate that. The shirt's a crowd pleaser. I like this one. It's comfortable too. Truck series will have Kyle Busch in the 07 this weekend. You'll also get Ross Chastain in the 44 and Connor Zilisch in the 45. No, you're good. The 66 also will be a Chris Buescher run Thor Sport truck this weekend at Watkins Glen. And then Christopher Bell is going to run in the 52 in the absence of Stuart Friesen in that Halmar Friesen racing truck. So there'll be some good ones. Who was previously the 66 is a great question. Thor Sport usually just runs the 88, I think, right? Yeah, they run the 88, the 98, and the 99. I don't know who typically runs the 66, to be really honest with you. Let's go find out. Let's go to results, and let's go to the truck series. Who ran the 66 at IRP? Luke Fenhouse ran the 66 at IRP. That was the last truck race. Lime Rock Park, Cam Waters ran that truck. It seems like it's kind of a floater for Thor Sport to put different folks in. Luke Baldwin ran that truck at Pocono. And at Michigan, it was Luke Fenhouse again. So it's kind of a rotating. Yeah, it seems like it's very much so like the 07 of Spire, where somebody wants to come in and run a race. They will rent you that ride for the weekend to a certain extent, at least. I haven't listened to Actions Detrimental yet. I listened to the Teardown. I haven't had a chance to listen to DBC yet either. I was doing some pretty intense maintenance on my car yesterday throughout the day, so I didn't get a chance to listen to much media yesterday. I was literally head inside wheel well replacing a caliper, rotor, and brake pads on my right rear on my Honda. I guess driving in the hot summer heat, the caliper finally seized up, 167,000 miles. That'll happen. So it'll be a good weekend at Watkins Glen. This is a track that always provides good entertainment. There's always, like, let me pull up a track map here too, because there's always that one kind of calamity corner. So everybody's always looking, they always cut the 90, right? So they always try to cut this 90-degree down. And the biggest pain point, I think, for drivers is in the S's. That is where they're trying to carry the most speed onto the back straight to hit the chicane before they hit the chicane, because that's where their passing zone is outbraking each other into that chicane. So I am super excited for Watkins Glen. This was a race I wanted to go to this year. I talked about going to it. I think in terms of like attendance, tickets were a little expensive, and it's also quite a drive. Same deal with Richmond. I was offered a ticket from NASCAR John to come down and see the race. He had an extra. But again, 5.5 hours in the car each way is a rough ride for Sal. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a tough year for me to kind of get to tracks. Something unique though, too, real quick, while we're talking about Watkins Glen. The elevation changes here. There's an elevation change map that you can see online. And just the way that, you know, you're going from out of the 90-degree angle into the S's and then driving back uphill through the S's, it really adds a unique element to this. It looks like, if you looked at this track and you didn't know it was a racetrack, it looks like a roller coaster. So definitely something unique about it. I have to make a video. I have to make a video about that. Elevations in feet from sea level. So like, you know, 1,490 feet above sea level there in the 90-degree angle. And then the S's, you're at 1,470. So it's a 20-foot difference, 2 stories in drop. And then as you accelerate up out of the S's, right, you're at 1,550 feet above sea level. So, you know, you're talking about almost 100 feet up angle. As you go through the chicane, you're literally 105 feet above where you were in the bottom of the S's. So a lot of technical driving happens here. It's very intense with the way that this track runs. Not just the way that the track is built, but the elevation change as well. So something to keep in mind this weekend as the guys head over to Watkins Glen. They'll be at Watkins Glen this weekend. The Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series, and then they're off to Richmond Raceway. I believe is the race after Watkins Glen. Let's get a schedule up here. Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona are the next 3 races starting this weekend, August 10th. And then we enter into the round of 16 in the playoffs. So there will be a lot to look forward to. I think you got a lot of new opportunities for a lot of drivers, especially this weekend. I think the Truck Series is going to be the race to watch. I think you keep your eye on that race with all the star power that's coming down to fill in spots for Nice, with Christopher Bell coming in, with Kyle Busch running. I think there's a lot to be excited about for that truck race. Same with the Xfinity Series as well. Not that the Cup Series won't be exciting, but there will be a lot of beating and banging, I'm sure, at Watkins Glen. There'll be a lot of strategy. Hopefully they can keep it clean through the S's. I know last year a lot of cars got cleaned out in the Cup Series in that first handful of corners, or that first handful of laps in that S's corners. But yeah, just it's tough to pass. It's a very technical racetrack, and I'm excited to watch it. I maybe there's a chance. I don't think there's a chance I take a ride out there. I text my friend Ryan yesterday, and he laughed at me. He laughed at me when I told him, "Hey man, let's go to the Glen this weekend." Kind of short notice, sure, but should be a fun race. Hope everybody enjoys. I want to thank everybody again for coming on out and supporting the stream this morning. I'm going to do my best to keep it close to time. You can find Sal on TikTok and on Instagram. You can also, if you're interested in making your weekend a little bit more spicy, if you're signing up for GridRival, we had a couple, but we had one bet that hit this weekend. We did have one that hit. It was Busher. Let's see. Let me look. We were close on a few, but we did have one that gave us some money back. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, actually, it was this one. We had just head-to-heads, right, for better finishing positions. I put these in ahead of practice because usually get a little bit of a better matchups. But Eric Jones came out ahead of Noah Gregson. Denny Hamlin finished ahead of Kyle Larson. Blaney finished ahead of Christopher Bell. And that gave us the opportunity to cash out on that one. So we were close on another one, too. Kyle Busch obviously was not able to finish better than 12.5. I really do think if he had the opportunity to practice or qualify it, rather, that one would have been a walk in the park for us. But if you are interested in GridRival, use code SlideJob when you sign up. Get 100 free entries. They're also the official fantasy sports app of IndyCar. So if you're just looking to do fantasy with no strings attached financially, you can also download GridRival and get involved with that as well. There's also NASCAR fantasy. You can get involved with leagues. There's different creators who have different leagues on there, and you can be involved in that community as well. So, but when you do it, use code SlideJob. Help me out. Help us out. GridRival is a great partner of ours at ATYL Media for some of our creators, and they've done some great things for me. So I appreciate whoever can support the people that support us. But that's going to wrap it up for me on a Tuesday morning here. Next week, the show will be Monday starting out. Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Lock it in. We will be here. We are not going to skip a beat. We're not going to get caught, at the tail end of the news cycle. We're going to step it up. We're going to wake up early on a Monday, and we're going to get it. We're going to get after it. We're going to be a part of the news cycle on a Monday and really dive into the events of the weekend. Chat with you in the community, in the comments. Loved all the involvement this week. It's what I do this for. I love being able to interact with everybody in the community, in the comments, and kind of talk about what's on your mind. What are you seeing? What are you thinking after these race weekends versus maybe some of the more top line headlines are great to talk about. But if everybody's talking about them, there's certainly things people aren't talking about. So always good to hear that and get that perspective from everyone out there in the community as fans. But again, Monday morning next week, 8 o'clock, Slide Job Sal and the Splash and Dash Morning Show making a move. We will see you then.